It's with you, Steve. We're laughing with you.
And actually, that's the first time that it's ever been successful.
I'm not saying a word.
Whoa, wow, I'd stay on that.
New battery.
Do that.
There's gonna be something wrong with this.
Michelle has a magic touch.
Yeah.
I guess you didn't get my gavel.
Oh,
Oh, no, Patty, don't get up. It's just,
She can knock.
she can knock on the table.
and no on the table.
Well, she wants you the gavel on you, will she?
Call this meeting to order. Please join me in the pledge. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call.
Robin,
Yes.
Brad,
Yes.
Jill. Yes.
Jane. Yes. Chad.
Yes.
Desha.
Yes.
Steve.
Yes.
All right. Do we have any visitors that would like to address the board tonight? All right, seeing none, we'll move on to the financial report. Mr. Fox isn't with us tonight, so Mr. Doan will take care of that.
Okay, kind of maybe do this a little bit differently, but you can see the fund balances on page 10, the net fund balance and the operating funds, and then also HLS funds. And this month, there's a payment, about $169,000 in the bills for HLS, and we have one more small payment under 100, and then we should be done with the EJHS project. Revenues are listed there. Expenses over 5,000 are on page 21 and 23. Just an update for the year. Most of the local, if you remember, revenues, local, state, and federal. Most of the local revenue has been received this year through property taxes. We're still yet to receive some state and federal. State, basically EBF funding, or general state aid as it used to be called. And then some third quarter, what we call MCATs, like transportation reimbursements, Title I reimbursements, things like that. And then also federal money, which are tied to grants, like Title I, Title II. So the way those grants work is the district has to purchase, and then you seek reimbursement. So we try to make the purchases and get the reimbursement in the same fiscal year. Sometimes that gets a little dicey at the end of June when the fiscal year ends. But most of the revenue yet to be determined or to receive is mainly state and federal revenue. But and we should those have been pretty. If it's reimbursement, you turn it in and less than a week later we get it because it's tied to a grant. So it's not like in the past where we were just kind of waiting on the check. Each of the funds are spelled out in the packet, but their recommendation is to reimburse the impressed account in the amount of $2,311.77 and the payment of bills for the month of $901,967.33.
Okay, are there any questions for Mr. Doan on the financial packet?
Mark, I'm sorry I didn't put this in the email prior, but what do we pay Zenith Insurance Company for?
That is our workman's comp.
Okay, thank you.
We've been with them 5 to 7 years. So to believe it or not, that's a lot less than we used to pay
Yeah, I just
per month.
I
It's
figured out who all the other providers were.
Yeah.
I just wasn't sure which.
Zenith is workman's comp.
Okay, thanks.
All right, any other questions? All right, if not, I will entertain a motion and a second to approve the financial report to reimburse the interest account in the amount of $2,311.77 and the payment of bills in the amount of $901,967.33.
I'll make a motion.
Motion by Tad,
Second.
second by Steve. Roll call.
Brad,
Yes.
Jill,
Yes.
Jane, yes, Chad,
Yes.
Desha,
Yes.
Steve,
Yes.
Robin.
Yes. All right, the consent agenda. I have several minutes to approve. Cafeteria report, no student teachers. We've got fundraisers, several of them. The basketball cheer team has several formal dress resale, a concession stand and home cheer. It's bigger so that I can read it. $400 cash value gift. EJHS Library Scholastic Book Fair, Central Library Books, Posters, and Magazine Sale, and the EHS Boys Basketball Team, a raffle for Nuxalls. I'm assuming that's Nuxalls meat
Yes.
market, okay. We have a field trip list. We have 2 EJHS trip to Busch Stadium for fundraising reward, April 27th, and the EHS Math Club trip to Six Flags in St. Louis for the Math and Physics Day on April 29th. We have quite a detailed summer camp schedule. We have correspondence from a couple of people.
Correspondence is after the consent.
Oh, I'm sorry. It's after the consent agenda. I'll get to that next. So any of those items you'd like to look at in more detail? All right, if not, I will take a motion and a second to approve the consent agenda as presented.
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Brad, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Jill, roll call.
Jill,
Yes.
Jane, yes, Chad,
Yes.
Desha,
Yes.
Steve,
Yes.
Robin,
Yes.
Brad.
Yes.
All right, now it's time for correspondence. We have 2. Thank you so much for the plant in Dave's memory. This is from Diane Teifel, Holly Wallace and family, Brian Teifel and family. Expression of sympathy. We have a thank you, expression of sympathy. Unit 40 board and staff, thank you for keeping me and my family in your thoughts and prayers. Also, thank you for the beautiful plant. Ron, Carla, and Abby Reed. Then we have the superintendent's report.
Okay, the foundation met, March 14th at 5:30. The minutes are in the packet. I think there was some teacher appreciation discussed, also about the scholarship selection meeting. And then I don't know if there's anything to add. I think you were there, Robin.
Right. The deadline for applications for the scholarships is actually this coming Sunday. So that's important if we have students that haven't sent theirs in yet, because we have over 50 scholarships, 50 plus scholarships to award this year. So we hope we get a lot of applicants.
Okay, enrollment was also enclosed, and we're up 17 students from the same time at the end of February from last year. And then no FOIA request for the past month.
All right, thank you. New business, 2022-23 discipline handbook changes for presentation and approval. And I think we have Mr. Pullen and Ms. Baker with us tonight.
I can go and start with the high school here. I think you have this in front of you, but we would like to make 2 changes, recommendations to the handbook this year. First one, if you look on page 8 of the handbook, where we have the arrival to school late and the leaving school early, they're sort of combined there. We would like to separate those 2. So we'd like to make the arrival to school late 1.17 and then leaving the school early 1.18. And again, our rationale behind this is they're sort of 2 different things. We'd like to sort of put the arrival to school late on the same level as the tardy, to where we're going to go ahead and allow them 1 per quarter to arrive late, because we have things like that happen with high school students, whether it's their car trouble, weather, things like that. So given that 1 sort of free one, I guess you could say, per quarter, then anything after that would be a least the offense with that. But again, so if you looked at, like I said, the way the handbook read, there really weren't any consequences laid out for the arriving to school late. So we just want to make sure we put something in there, make sure that are some consequences listed there. And that would be the recommendation there on that one, to again switch those 2. And then the leaving school early, which means we would just have a student that would walk out of school. The only change there would just be the changes of the violation to this policy. So the first offense would be 2 hours of late stay for the first offense and additional consequences for each subsequent offense. Second offense, 3 hours of late stay. Third offense, 1 day of alternative classroom. And then fourth offense would be 2 days of alternative classroom. So again, just separating those two things there. So that would be our first recommendation for high school. Second recommendation, if you look on page 20, it's 15.1. It's policy on alcohol and drug abuse. We would like to remove numbers 1 and 2 under the 15.11 disciplinary action. The way it reads is, it says the following conditions must be agreed upon by the student and parent guardian before the student will be allowed to enroll after the expulsion has been served. No participation in or attendance in any extracurricular activity or graduation for the remainder of the school year, and then no parking privilege for the remainder of the school year. Our rationale behind this is we feel if a student has been expelled for one of these two things, the consequences have been served. They've served the expulsion. If they come back to school, we would ask that they can go ahead and go through graduation, or they can go ahead and participate in extracurricular activity. They've served their consequence, could be up to a year and a half. I'd hate to see a junior maybe be in trouble for this. And again, we don't condone this, but maybe get in trouble for something like this, and they're able to meet the requirements and maybe even possibly go through the principal probation, come back their senior year. Again, we'd like to see those students walk through graduation. So.
Makes sense.
Any questions on either of those two? Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Junior high also has 2 recommendations. The first recommendation would be to change the language under honor roll so that high honors would be A's only and honor roll would be AB. Currently, you can have a C and still be considered for honor roll, and that is due to the change in grading scale that we had a few years ago. And then the second one would be just to change the language a little bit for the dress code. Currently, it says no holes above the knee. We would like to clarify that language to say no holes above the knee that expose skin. So technically now, if you have like a solid colored legging or something underneath, you can't wear that according to our dress code, even though it doesn't expose skin. Okay? Any questions?
And then if you just look at central school here, really nothing major from Mr. Schutte. One of the things that they did want to make sure that we talked about was no longer can you deny recess to a student. So they had some provisions in there where they could take recess away. So they're just maybe limiting recess in some incidents there. And then also they had some changes with COVID that they just would like to keep in the handbook now, just on like when students arrive where they're supposed to go and things like that. So just some changes there through central school. Nothing major at South Side, and really nothing major at ELC and East Side Preschool. So.
Okay, any questions on any of these? All right, then I'll entertain a motion in a second to approve the 2022-23 handbook changes as presented.
I'll make a motion.
Motion by Desha, second by Steve. Roll call.
Jane, yes. Chad,
Yes.
Desha,
Yes.
Steve,
Yes.
Robin,
Yes.
Brad,
Yes.
Jill.
Yes.
All right, next we have the Sepco Purchasing Cooperative approval.
Every year, the district oversees, Effingham is the district that oversees the Sepco Purchasing Cooperative. And so we just bring before the board so we can participate as the district. And there is $100 fee, I believe, that we do every year.
All right,
And there's no exclusivity terms in here. I mean, if we wanted to go outside of the agreement, we can do that in certain circumstances or?
Not on the items that have been listed.
Okay, so it's just specific areas.
So like we bid out milk and bread and things separately. But if there's a whole list of items that districts put together, and we've only had one bid in the past 6-7 years, if not longer, which is usually Kohl's. But if there's something on there that we want to try something different, which Ryan has tried, it's not in that bid because it wasn't listed.
Okay.
So they meet prior to with the districts, and if they want to add something or take something off, and then they also talk about flexibility on whether, now some districts actually got out of the co-op or had to get out of the co-op because of supply issues. They couldn't bring the food. We didn't have that issue as much as some smaller districts. So.
all right, any other questions on that? Seeing none, I will entertain a motion and a second to approve Unit 40's participation in the Sepco Food Co-op at a cost of $100.
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Brad. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Bill. Roll call.
Chad,
Yes.
Tisha,
Yes.
Steve,
Yes.
Robin,
Yes.
Brad,
Yes.
Jill,
Yes.
Jane.
Okay, Soundside renovation project bid award.
Okay, so we opened up bids and received one bid. You see the bid packet or the bid result page, which is a local business. In talking through that, as I shared some information with you, lead times for HVAC units and some other items are over 20, 25 weeks, even sometimes over 30 weeks. There's no way we're going to get that done entirely this summer. So the question was, what are the options for there? So FGM, the architect, the district, and the construction company, the bidder, met and we discussed options. And so for this can be done this summer and into next summer at the same cost. We would have to order the items now to get the larger items for next year. There is some work that could be done this summer, i.e. At the east end of South Side, running ductwork, new ceilings, those types of things, pouring the pads outside because the HVAC units are going to have to sit outside on the ground, okay? Because that end is a concrete roof. We cannot penetrate that roof. So there are some things that can be done. If the roofing materials come in, that could get done on the west end. And if that's the case, they would go ahead and put the seats, when I talk about the seats, where the HVAC units would sit, because on the west end, you can penetrate that roof. And then would have to cover them for the year until the units come in. But then all the windows, obviously we can't change the windows because we have air conditioning. It's the only air conditioning. So that'd be something next summer that would get done. But all of this will get done under the same, in talking with them in regards to the same cost that the bid was provided. So another thing is we could go back and we'll talk about the calendar here in a minute, but it could go back. It wouldn't impact the calendar. We wouldn't have to go a week late trying to get everything done. We'd have 2 summers to get it done. It would actually help the district on cash flow. And we could order and make sure we have everything so it's not hurried and rushed. Well, I don't say that. It's always hurried and rushed in the summer, but less hurried and rushed if it's over 2 summers. So the administration and FGM and the construction company, we all agree that we wanted to make sure we brought a recommendation that to move this project forward, there's a couple options. One, reject the bids and rebid it. Have no idea what that would be, have no idea on the cost. You bid it now, it's for next year. You wait till August. I can't guarantee what that's going to be. Or you do this now and you know what the cost is and you work around that cost and it be done in 2 years. It's a local provider. We're going to use local, not all 100%. I don't think 100% local subs, but a high percentage. It's better for cash flow. So anyway, we would recommend the fact that we go ahead and do the 2-year process, try to get as much as possible done this summer, and then prep and be ready to go for next summer when the large HVAC units and all the windows will be replaced. There is some asbestos flooring that wouldn't be touched until next year. So it's not the best of both. It's not the best, but in the process that we are in regards to trying to get supplies and equipment, it's about the best we can provide. So I guess those are the 2 options to the board: reject all bids and decide to rebid it out in August, which we're waiting for next year anyway, or go ahead and accept it for this 2-year process. And we'd recommend that we just go ahead and do the 2-year process. We know the costs. We know who's going to be doing the work. They can go ahead and order the items. We can store them like we did at the junior high, unless they want to store them on their own site. That's up to them. So, but it'd be open to try to answer any questions that anybody might have. This would be the final, well, there's never a final building. But it would, South Side is the last building besides West Side, but South Side is the last building that would be renovated totally. We've done work the last couple of years over there with flooring and lighting and ceiling and even the flooring in the hallways and redone the bathrooms. So, now it's a matter of windows, lighting, finishing that west end and finishing the roof. So every roof will be done in the district.
What's the principal's thoughts on this? About
Moving forward.
So
Yep.
just for the sake of the public, could you kind of give us an overview of what is going to take place? You said just the roof, flooring.
Okay, so right now, what we talked about at that meeting would be at the east end, which is the far end, would be going ahead and doing some ceiling work, but putting in the duct work for all the heating and air that would be coming in, pouring the pads that are outside where the big HVAC units would be. If the roofing material comes in, because they said it would be it's a 3-month window, but if they can get that in and it's a local contractor that could go ahead, that would be at the west end. Right. There may be some other electrical items and things like that they could start. I don't know that. Majority of the work will be done next year. So we're talking about replacing every window, taking and finishing up HVAC system on the west end and the east end, finishing the floorings in the classrooms on the west end. We didn't do the classrooms yet because I think there's 4 classrooms that have asbestos tiling right now. And so when you start tearing that up, you just have to get everything out of there. So to tear that up and then try to put a floor down and then go back and tear out the ceiling and lights and run new duct work, we feel we couldn't protect those floors like we thought we could.
So the line item that says alternate number 1 roller shades for the
Okay.
classrooms, the base bid does not include any sort of window covering, or this is an alternative window covering? as opposed
To my knowledge,
something else?
there isn't one in there right now. These are BB rollers similar to the junior high. There's roller shades in because they're big windows.
Mhm.
So these would be roller shades. Alternate one is $18,000 for every room and every window, including the cafeteria, gymnasium type of, because it's got windows up top all the way around.
I saw in the board packet, we've only got the option 1 listed, but in the letter from FGM, it's got an alternate 2 for
There
exterior
is.
door frame and assemblies.
That was another alternate 2 for $149,000. We felt that those have even more of a lead time than the HVAC units, which I can't believe, but they do.
Really?
And we felt like we could address those as we go forward. They're not in the discussion. It was just, we can do that if you want to, but we felt like that wasn't because remember, on top of this number is about $80,000 estimated for asbestos removal, and that's a rough estimate. So we were just kind of holding back, saying whether we needed to do that at this time or not.
Okay.
And it may be something we could look at in September and say, look, think we ought to try to do that, and we could go back and see what they are. It's just that was the cost at that time. So that's up to the board if you want to add the doors or not. That number was a little higher than what we
What you thought?
anticipated to begin with, but
Do they need replaced?
they will be. They will need to be replaced. It's just a matter of whether you do it now or whether you
I mean, material prices probably aren't going down anytime soon, I'm guessing, right? It'd be nice, but I doubt
But
it.
this was a single bid, so could you,
Yeah, well, the option is you can go, the base bid, you can add alternate one, which we recommend, and if you want to, you can add alternate two.
So if we don't approve it now, it would still be this cost at a later time? Or could it go
That I
up?
can't guarantee.
Okay.
I don't know
It could
that.
go up at a later time.
I would hope, well, I better not say.
I was gonna say, yeah. Give me a lot of.
Because I didn't ask, I don't think that, we just, it was, well, we've kind of budgeted some extra money for this.
Right.
And so the rest of it's local. So it's a matter of, but again, you're talking over 2 years instead of 1 year, right? So it helps also on the cash flow for the district as well. So they're over 30 weeks for frames, which I can't believe, but they are. So, I mean, if that's something, if you want us to, I would want to make sure if the board, if that's the direction we want to go, I want to make sure that I'm almost guaranteed that they can order those and get them in, because 30 weeks is 30 weeks. It's not till next year that we be changing, putting them in. But so that total, if you add in the 149 and the 80 is 2,795,000. Right now it's $2,646,000 for everything. But if you add the 149,000 on top of that.
anybody like to?
I mean, part of me is, in the scheme of things, it's not a large number,
Right.
but we just felt it was already, we budgeted $2 million out of the ESSER grant. So
What doors are these?
these are like your entrance doors,
All doors? The whole building needs new doors or
exterior doors.
all exterior doors? So how many doors?
So 1, 2, 3, 4. Well, there's 4 main entrances that have 3 doors across or 4 doors across. You have your main, you one to the north, one to the east, one to the west, and then one outside down there at the end of the east end hallway. There's a double door, set door down there.
There's doors off of the,
And there's doors out to the playground.
from the cafeteria, there's doors in the first grade hall, second grade hall.
What we could do is, if the board's okay with moving forward with the base bid and the alternate, we could go back to them and say exactly what, and come back. And I can't guarantee, but I don't think April meeting's going to be, wouldn't be getting these until next year, ordering them and then getting them. So there might be some leeway here, and I could call them tomorrow
Okay.
and follow up and say, is this all the doors?
Yeah, just maybe an itemized bid.
Yeah.
Can we see, what exactly you're purchasing?
All right, so are we ready to move forward then with the recommendation to approve Grunlow Construction's base and alternate bid number 1 for the South Side project at a cost of $2,566,000? Is there a motion? Motion by Chad. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Brad. Roll call.
Desha,
Yes.
Steve,
Yes.
Robin,
Yes,
Fran,
Yes.
Jill,
Yes.
Jane, yes, Chad.
Yes.
and then you'll get information on the doors.
Yeah, I'll get information, get that to you. Just understand, on top of that number, we still have, that does not include the asbestos. So as soon as that gets finalized, we'll bring that back, because we'll have to bid that out as well.
Do we have an update on the reconstruction of the playground that's outside?
Yes, the items, from what I understand, let me think for a minute. the staff and the administration over there have picked the apparatus.
Mhm.
And what I understand, the insurance company has approved it and it's in stock. So hopefully we can get that. The goal is we got to get that done before the start of school year.
Right.
So, and then we're also looking at the drainage to that area as well. So that'll be a summer address, just to the south there, that grassy area. There's a drain there, but it's not draining.
Not doing the work. Okay,
Well-
thank you.
The insurance is replacing the apparatus. What,
They're replacing everything. They have to come because what's in the chips,
Mhm.
things broke off the vehicle, things broke off the apparatus. So they're going to have to take all those chips
that was
out,
my question, like,
get rid of them.
will it be replaced with
Yes.
the same material, or
Yeah,
will they
to my
be
understanding.
exploring other options for the surface of the playground?
I think it's replacing it the way it was.
Okay,
But they have to take all of that and remove it because you
Right.
don't know what's in there now.
right.
So
Things have changed in the last several years for the surface.
Safety.
Those rubber tire things are a mess. And there might be other options out there. Just food for thought. and something to
understand
think
that
about.
that wouldn't be under the
I
same
mean, if we're
insurance
if we
amount,
are
I'm sure.
taking a project that will probably be updated, because I'm guessing that the apparatus that was there previously was out of date.
Right.
Also, that we should probably explore options for the surface of the playground as well as the drainage issues.
Okay.
Just something to think about.
That's a good point.
All right, moving on. 2022-23 calendar.
Okay.
I was laughing because I get those little rubber things in the backpack every day.
Everything that you own,
Look what I brought,
black,
Mom.
they're a mess.
Yeah.
It's not a child-friendly substance it might be safe, yes, which is what we need, but it is,
Okay.
Always good to look
everybody
at.
knows what that stuff does.
Yes.
Okay. 22-20. This is next year's school calendar. Shared that information with you. Starting date would be back to previous junior high renovation time, which would be Monday, August 15th, would be Teachers Institute. Students' first day would be Wednesday, August 17th. And that week we would be releasing at 2:00. The other item would be semester exams and finals would be in December, like we used to have them previous to the last 3 years. And then the last day, it'd be May of 23. If 5 snow emergency days are used, they're not snow days, emergency days would be Wednesday, May 24th with the Institute. So if we don't use those days, you just back up. So the earliest the year could end would be May 17th. And the latest would probably be May 24th, unless absent of something that I can't think of right now. So,
Everything's possible.
yeah. So we shared this and had discussions with both unions. Both unions support it and got their feedback. So we just put that out there, and we'd probably look at, I would think, Sunday, the 21st as possible graduation, I would think, but that's a decision for later.
All right, any questions on the calendar? Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion and a second to approve the 2022-23 calendar as presented.
I'll make the motion.
Motion by Dasha. Second by Steve. Roll call.
Steve,
Yes.
Robin,
Yes.
Brad,
Yes.
Jill,
Yes.
Jane, yes, Chad,
Yes.
Desha.
Yes.
Registration fees for 22-23.
Okay, let me get there. All right, so since we started the one-to-one here in the district program, we've talked about and said we needed to look at possibly a technology fee moving forward. So we did not institute that last year. We did some more checking. Emily did a lot of the legwork on this, so thank you, Emily. Checking with other schools and in talking with the technology committee, we would introduce an option of a technology fee for grades 6 through 12 as a $60 and a technology fee for grades K through 5 as $30. Now, we do not usually make huge changes in our fee structure. But in doing so, one of the things we did is we went down and looked at what are some things that we might be able to remove. And so part of that was a health services fee of $20, student ID cards of $4, a student messenger fee of $3, and a fee we call Lyceum for $2. So all in all, there's a $29 reduction in fees. And so for a student at K through 5, the overall impact is $1 increase. All right. And for the high school, junior high and high school, the $60 minus $29 would be a $31 increase. Emily could probably talk a little bit more about if you have questions about the amount of work and issues that we have when you have 2,200, 2,300 devices. This is a general fee, technology fee that every district that has a one-to-one program has instituted. And so how can we do that? And then also while we were doing that, look at how can we adjust some of these others. And so that's where we went through, talked about that at the technology committee. And so what's before you is a list of what the 22-23 fees would be. Those in red would be new, and those and some of them are gone, as you can see in the packet. I don't know if any of the Brad or Robin, if you have any comment. It's something it's been brought up. We just finally getting around to doing it and for implementation for next year.
I just might mention to remind people the reason there is a difference between K-5 and 612. The K-5 students do not take their devices home every day. They're kept in the classroom. And the 612 devices, though, the high school, the junior high, their devices are with them all the time and they're taking them home. And so, of course, there's a lot more wear and tear and service issues that they need when they have a problem. And so that's why the fee is higher there. And I thought it was very important that we reduce the fees so that the difference is not that much.
Just curious, how do those fees compare to other comparable schools?
And Emily can probably respond to that. Would you come up to the microphone? Thank you.
Spent a lot of time researching other schools. And what some districts do is they take the cost of the device and then divide it by the life of the device. And so if we were to do that, that would be our devices with cases are about $400. So if you divide that by 4 years or 3 years of the junior high, that's about $100 per year. You have some school districts who are in like the $25, $30 range. And then you have districts in like the $75, $100 range. Just kind of depends. And I will also mention that we do not have Chromebooks. We have more expensive, more powerful devices that cost more because we're running Windows and we have Microsoft Suite, not just Google. And so I think some of those districts that have like the $25, $30 fees are typically those Chromebook schools where the devices are half the price. So again, with our devices being about $400 each, so that we can provide, Microsoft Office in that suite. I think we would probably need to do something a little bit more than $25 or $30. So,
Good
like
question.
I said, it kind of ranges from 30 to 100. Some even go up to being like half of the device. So.
Refresh my memory. When we went to this, do we offer like an insurance option
We
for
currently
our
do not.
students? Just in case, lost, stolen, negligence, things like
Right.
that. I mean, how do we handle any of that?
We currently do not have an insurance, but it's something that I have been looking into. It's a matter of if we want to add an additional cost, sometimes they're not worth it because it's like $30 or $40 for insurance. And then like a screen replacement is, $40 to $60. But it's definitely something that we can look more into. I've contacted a couple of different insurance companies. But I haven't, gotten. full
I didn't know if it would be
Yeah.
worth it or not. I just,
Yeah, there's actually
wondered if
districts
it was
all
an
over the
option.
board on that. Some say it's not worth it, because you have, it kind of depends on the device insurance. Some require that you send the device off to their people to fix, and so then you have the issues of shipping included in that. That device is now, it's our property, but it's now in the hands of someone else working on it, and we have the people here to work on them. So that's one concern that I have with some of those companies. But some of them let you do in-house repairs. So that would be probably the direction I would probably try to lean towards to kind of reduce that shipping. But there's a lot of different options out there, so. We could do there's options of just like optional only, or like everybody in the district has to get it. I talked to this one company who said that they have a district that requires every single person to have insurance, and there's others that it's optional. They have just, 20 some people that decide to buy in. And then the parents deal everything with that insurance company, and the school's not involved. So there's a lot of different options.
So currently, if something happens to the device, and let's say you do have to replace the screen, is the student liable for that, or does the district?
Right, and that's in our iPad laptop manual that the students have
The
signed.
cost.
The costs are in there. We'll have to update those for next year because the prices actually have gone down a little bit, so we'll adjust those prices. But we charge if we can tell physical damage and it's very blatant. It kind of gets to a hairy zone sometimes if this is accident, if it's, if it's been physically damaged, or is it warranted, is it warrantable, or can we actually prove that that damage occurred with the student, or is it just like a manufacturing defect? So we only charge when we can prove actual damage. So our technicians are skilled at being able to determine that. We take pictures, we can prove, and then the student's charged for it in Infinite Campus, so.
And how frequent is that damage? I mean,
Oh, we've got a lot of tech tickets, but they're not always damaged. Those are sometimes just user error and user education. I'd have to look at my spreadsheet and get back to you on the actual number. We see them weekly, damages that have to be charged to.
is it a large number, or is it a typical number, something that we would have expected to see? Or
It's definitely what you would expect to see. Again, I would want to look at my spreadsheet before giving numbers. I don't want to tell you something wrong off the top of my head, but
Okay.
yeah, I can get those to you.
I mean, generally speaking, are the kids taking care of the devices?
Yeah, they are. Yeah, for the most part, the junior high and high school can probably tell you that. We have repeat offenders. Just like we kind of see the same thing happening. Usually one time it happens, it doesn't happen again. But it's, I guess, part of what happens when you give kids technology like this. There's gonna be damage to it. So,
Right. That's good to know.
yeah, but I can get you guys those numbers when I can look at my actual spreadsheet, because there's a lot of numbers in there. So, yeah, our guys do a good job of getting those repaired in a timely manner too. So I'm really proud of them for that. As long as we can keep stock of supplies, because that's kind of the issue. Getting screens in, and mouse cables and track pads, and then just, getting all that in. So
Okay, anything else for Emily? Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you.
All right, then, I would entertain a motion to approve the 2022-23 fee list as presented. Motion by Chad, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Steve. Roll call?
Robin,
Yes.
Brad,
Yes.
Jill,
Yes.
Jane, yes, Chad,
Yes.
Tricia,
Yes.
Steve.
Yes.
All right, we have an announcement. We hope everyone has seen that the Effingham Junior High School will have an open house on Tuesday, April 12th, from 4 to 6 p.m. The transformation at that building is remarkable, so I hope that everyone takes an opportunity to come and see what the junior high looks like now. So that is April 12th from 4 to 6.
If I could just jump in there, I know that probably Mr. Schwerman and Miss Baker have also done this, and I've done this, and so is Miss. If there are groups that wish to have a tour, like we have some class reunions that come in, or just small groups that want to have a tour, they just need to contact the office, and we've done a few of those, and the feedback's been phenomenal. I don't know who went to school there. Okay, so you've been in it, so it's you can tell the difference. So so if there are other groups that wish to do that, just feel free to call the school or call the board office, and we'll try to work with you and get something set up.
That's great. All right. Anything else? All right, we are,
Can I ask one question
yes.
before we go? I'm sorry.
Mhm.
Since we have the principals, I was just curious, has it become any easier to get substitute teachers now that we've moved past COVID, we've increased the rate? Is it any easier, or is it still very difficult? I'm just curious, sorry.
We've had two come back to the junior high, some of our regular people.
I think it's more difficult now because we're getting a lot more people calling in the morning of. So then it's you have an hour to scramble, whereas we knew, we needed somebody for 5 days or 10 days if they were quarantined or isolated.
See, we're still struggling with paraprofessionals, and getting paraprofessional subs. Teacher-wise in high school, our teachers do a really good job of covering during their preps and along those lines, so sometimes it's kind of hard to really tell how bad the problem is. We have, as Baker said, there are a couple of our regulars that come back, and we're always trying to recruit more. So I'd say it was kind of the same, maybe a little better.
Okay, thanks.
Okay. Anything else? All right, then, I will entertain a motion and a second to enter into closed session for the appointment, employment, compensation, discipline, performance, or dismissal of specific employees of the district or student discipline.
Motion.
Motion by Steve, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Brad, roll call.
Brad,
Yes.
Jill,
Yes.
Jane, yes, Chad,
Yes.
Tricia,
Yes.
Steve,
Yes.
Robin.
Yes. Okay, we'll enter closed session.